might have thought that was rehearsed or something. That was just in listening to the scripture and letting the Holy Spirit go to work.
That's right. That's right.
Hallelujah. So,
Yes.
since it's in line with the message, I thought, well, let's do the message and we'll go from there. And it's going to be real simple. Kind of a real brief outline is in your program. This one is going to be encouragement, faith. So it's encouragement to progress. And we started last year, or we ended last year talking about we will not take last year's stuff into this year.
Come on, Pastor.
So no last year pains, no last year's disappointments, right? No last year's brokenness. Okay?
Come on now.
None of that's coming into 2019.
Right.
And so this is to just, and I don't know if you know, since we said that last week, if you felt a challenge to kind of go back to some stuff, if you felt a challenge to hold on to some stuff or pick up some stuff that was back there, some pain, some disappointments or whatever, where some thoughts came in and you thought, here I go again. You know, and you found yourself maybe having to battle a little bit to go ahead and move forward. This is, you know, something that God has in the scripture to encourage us. You know, I look at it like He's encouraging us to progress.
All right.
Yes, He is. To go on. And so whatever is in the past is in the past.
Right.
You know,
right.
And you heard the scripture, and you heard all of those that, you know, just a few actually in the 11th chapter that actually God gave them something to do and they just moved forward with it. And it meant that they had to progress and go forward and leave the past alone.
All right. All right.
Right. We've seen that Abraham was actually told, and it's all, you know, I'm probably not going to read over these scriptures all over again, but you'll see that there's a lesson text, and then you'll see that there's background text that you can look at that I'll probably be hitting some of, and then you'll see that there's a golden text, which is our memory verses for this month. And it deals with the whole issue of, what if I just take the opportunity to look back? If I take just an occasion to look back, there's a great chance I might go back.
Right, right.
And that's what that text is really kind of, but I thought it was really nice where God kind of nested it at, because it dealt with, first, let's talk about some people that I've told them to do some things.
Okay.
And let's see what they did with it.
Okay.
You know, let's talk about a Noah.
Okay.
That I asked to do something for me.
Yes, sir.
That I asked to build
Yes,
an ark for me. And it took a while.
Okay.
And I'm sure over 100 and some odd years, there is going to be some obstacles. Right. There's going to have to be some challenge, some hurdles that we got to overcome, right? There's going to be the naysayers. There's going to be people talking about, you wasn't called to do this. Look at you doing something in a region where it ain't never rained. What are you talking about? God didn't tell you that. I mean, all kind of stuff probably was said.
Right.
I would imagine that he was the laughing stock of the region. A man preaching it's going to rain.
Come on now.
Now, you know how we are. If I preach something to you 4 or 5 times and it don't happen, y'all ready to dismiss that thing.
See?
Like, you've been saying that. You've been saying that 5 or 6 times, Pastor. Yeah, I ain't seen nothing happen yet.
Right.
You know, so we will dismiss it real quick. So can you imagine preaching the same message for 120 years?
Mm-hmm.
The same message. Nothing changed. It's going to rain.
Come on now.
I'm building the ark. I'm nailing stuff. You know, it's going to rain.
Wow.
Y'all get ready, because it's going to rain.
Yes, sir.
That just sounds real simple, don't it? Think about you, when you first start hearing that message, might have been 10 years old. Now, your parents done passed and went on off the scene.
Come on.
And this man's still talking about it's going to rain.
Right.
Don't heed the message, right? It's amazing how God will allow a message to be spoken over and over and over again just to see what happens. See, sometimes the message can be spoken over and over and over again, and all that happens is every time it's spoken, it hardens the heart of the person that's hearing.
Wow. Wow.
What about the gospel of Jesus Christ? It's a very simple message. Apostle Paul said, all I do is preach Jesus. I'm coming to you with Jesus. That's all I got.
Okay.
Can you imagine coming to church every Sunday and all I preach is Jesus? He died on the cross, y'all.
Okay.
He rose from the grave, y'all.
Okay.
He's sitting on the right-hand side of the Father right now, y'all. Y'all, he shed his blood for us.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
If you just believe, you're righteous. And that's all you hear every Sunday. Come to Bible study, that's all I'm going to tell you. Jesus died and he rose again. Have faith in him. Y'all will probably say, I got to go find another church. I ain't growing here. Right? I ain't growing here. I remember Deke saying, he said, now, how you going to keep preaching? I mean, you're going to run out of text pretty soon, you remember? Remember saying that?
Yes.
Yeah. See? Already, it's kind of like, what you got here? But here's the thing.
Say it.
Here's the thing. You speak what God tells you to speak.
Say that.
And you do what God tells you to do for as long as he needs you to do it. Huh? So if he just wants you to say Jesus died on the cross, if that's the only message he gave you, that's the only one you need to preach. Now, I will be the first to tell you, if you do it, if you be obedient and do it, you're going to have some folk coming at you. Some folk going to be telling you crazy. Some folk going to tell you was not called to the ministry. If that's all you got, you need to go study and show yourself approved. Right? But if you're obedient, you'll continue to say the same thing the same way until God tells you we're done with that. See, it boils down to looking at these gentlemen and realizing we always talk about using our faith to do something, using our faith to get something, don't we?
Right.
Most of the time when people talk about their faith, they're talking about it to get something. But when we look in chapter 11, they are not using their faith to get something, they're using their faith to do something. And they're not doing it for themselves, but they're doing it for God. So they're using their faith and they're being obedient to do the things that God has asked them to do. So, how do we move forward then? How do we get past last year? You know, some of us have been carrying more than just last year. Y'all do know that, right?
Right.
When I said that last week, some of us was carrying years of stuff. Right? I mean, stuff happens. We find ourselves in situations and our mind gets inundated and we just keep carrying it. We don't think we can get out of the situation, do we? We just think sometimes we think it's a lost cause. I'm just here. But we see here, on the one hand, he tells Noah to build an ark. Now here we go. On the other hand, he tells Abraham, get up and leave your mama and your daddy. And go to a land that I'm going to promise to you. Now, if you read the backdrop behind that, you realize that he didn't get a whole lot of detail. He didn't know where he was going. God said, come on, let's go. Huh? Let's go. He said, I got a land prepared for you. Head due north. No details, not a whole lot of details there, right? But when you read the background, you find out that Abraham got on up. And went. Now we know that Noah has some obstacles in his journey. The question is, did Abraham have any obstacles in his journey? Huh? He was going into a foreign land. Right? I mean, God had promised him a child. Right? The promise comes after he tells him to get up and go. Then he starts talking about you're going to be the father of many nations. You're going to have more children than the sands on the seashores. More children than stars in the sky. See, and here's the deal. We struggle with real simple things that God has promised us. Or things that God has told us to do, right? Now check this out. God says, receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Right? Be born again. And you're going to have a newness of life. That's real simple steps, right? Just believe. Jesus. You're going to have a newness of life. Follow me. And I'm going to give you a peace and a joy that you can't even understand. Right? So some of us accept Jesus, right? And what happens? We have a romantic period with the Lord. All is well. Everything I ask him for, I get it. I pray for somebody, they heal. I see things happening in the romantic period. Then we get past the romantic period.
Okay.
And he say, now I got to really check you out to see what kind of relationship we got.
Right.
I know what you can do when I'm doing stuff.
Right.
The question is, what can you do when I ain't doing stuff? Right? And so we become this Christian, and all of a sudden he begins to let things come our way. Things start happening in our lives. Things start happening with our loved ones.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we're praying and it don't seem like prayers are being answered. Seem like we've been praying about the same situation for 5 or 6 years and don't seem like we're moving on it. Does it make sense?
Right.
And then all of a sudden we want to know, okay, are you still romantic? Are you still excited? You know, can you go? Can you go another 10 years if I don't answer you?
Wow.
No, because Father, I'm going to quote the scripture. If I abide in you and you abide in me, I can just ask what I want, you'll give it to me.
Yes.
Come on now.
Oh, we get to throw some stuff at him then. Huh? But God's like, no, we talked about this. Just like Abraham and just like Noah. We didn't put no time frame on this thing. You know, we like time frames, don't we? I mean, how many of you people like to work off of a little time diagram that you know what's going to happen every step of the way? You know, I just know at this day, at this time, this is where I'm supposed to be. See, that's the way.
Right.
God don't work like that, though. He just don't. God say, this is what we doing, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I need you to do.
Okay.
See, we are people that's driven by results, aren't we? We like to see the results of what we're doing, right? If I'm doing something, I want to see some results.
Right. Right.
Well, y'all might not want to be no pastor. Because there's some pastors out there saying, man, I've been at this for 20 years and I ain't seen no results. These people in this place ain't grown yet. They still just where they was. Might not want to be a prophet either. Because folks don't normally listen to prophets either, do they? They don't move off prophets, do they? Prophets say, the Lord said. Well, who are you?
Right.
God speak to me just like he speak to you. Ain't that what they do?
Yeah, they do.
I seen you. You had attitude yesterday anyway, so what make you think God's speaking to you? Right? But God tell the prophet, I need you to say it again. Whew, sometimes the prophet go, whew. You should say, oh, Jesus. You know? It gets rough. My mama used to say, get rough. She go to church and she begin to give them a word from the Lord, and them folk look at her like you're crazy. There were times where they say, oh, she just witchcraft. God don't give nobody a word every time they walk in the door.
Come on now.
But y'all ain't changed.
Right.
Y'all still do the same stuff.
Right.
But see, what is required in this? See, is it that what you say to me is what's going to lift me up and keep me going? Or what you say about me is going to take me down and shut my mouth?
Wow.
Or should my progression be based off of what God has asked me to do?
That's right.
Huh? So, if God said that last year's stuff is in the past, and we're moving forward and don't bring it with you, what do you think you're going to have to use to help you with that? Faith.
Yeah.
And this is why this is about the encouragement that comes by way of faith. See, we got to look at this and say, wait a minute now, there's some other people that was on the scene way before I was that God asked to do some things, and look at what they had to go through. This is what God has documented for us. Look what they had to go through. Right? I mean, Noah's stuff didn't come right away. Abraham's stuff didn't come right away. Did it? No, he didn't get a son right away. Ain't that something God promised you a son and then you don't get it till 23 years later? You know how we be acting. Now, I'm just getting too old now. And I heard people say, I want a child now. I don't want no child when I'm 60 years old. Oh, they be talking, boy. They be talking. It's like, but if God gives it to you, what's the problem?
Right.
Obviously, somebody said he's intentional. Obviously, if he gives it to you at that time in your life, ooh, I got a frowny face over here. At that time in your life, he has prepared you and equipped you and made you able to take care of it. Now check this out. Check this out. See, we complain with God about something like that. Oh, God, give it to me before I'm 60. You got to have it before I'm 50. Oh, I got to have it before I'm 50. You know, we go through all that stuff, right? But this is what I like about God. If he gives me something, if there's something that he's going to give me, and he waits 30 years out, and I'm 70 at the time that he gives it to me, I also believe that the same God that gave it to me at the age of 70 probably will have, I will still have the energy of 35.
Come on now. Come on. Come on.
So y'all like that one, don't you? That one's okay, huh? Yeah. And you know, and that was okay. Caleb said, where's that land you promised me? Huh?
Come on.
When I was 40.
Right.
Check it out.
Right.
He said, where's the land you promised me when I was 40?
Okay.
He said, there's some giants in the land. Obstacles, right?
Yep.
Now listen, y'all paying attention? God made a promise. Said this is going to be your parcel, right? He told Moses, right?
Okay.
Then Joshua knew about it, right? So, of course, those who were going to get a parcel knew what their parcel was going to be, right? But by the time he got to the place that God had promised him, he got the promise when he was 40. But when he got to the place of the promise, he was 80.
Yes, he was.
But listen. See, this is when you're encouraged with faith. This is what happened. When they told him that there were giants in the land and he was going to have to fight to take the land, he said, no problem. He said, cause listen to this. I feel like I did when he made the promise.
Come on now.
So what was he saying? He said, yeah, I know I'm 80, but I feel like I'm 40.
Yeah.
See, y'all didn't think about that part of it, did you?
Right.
Y'all didn't think when God delays it, he still gives you the energy and the ability to carry it out.
All right.
See, y'all don't want to get messed up with the numbers. Huh? Somebody say age ain't nothing but a number. And then some people say age ain't nothing but a number. And then they go outside and start running and say, woo, I'm getting old. You know?
Yeah.
But when God has really told you something and you start carrying it out based off of what he told you and you're obedient to what he's saying, then God works the details out. We want to work the details out, but God will work the details out. So we see that Abraham was promised this child, and he get to be about 100 years old, and then all of a sudden the child comes. Now I know most of us say, I don't want to be no 100, have no child. I don't know who's going to be raising no child, no 100. Right? But Abraham took that child with excitement, right? Now here we go. Still being obedient. Still progressing, right? We're still being obedient, still progressing. So now you done got to where you think you're going. And got what you think you're going to get, right? And you get to that point, God saying, now give it back. Seems like an obstacle, don't it?
Right.
Now wait a minute, this don't make no kind of sense. You promised me this, now you asking me to give it back? See, now where God's going to discover. Now I promised you something, I'm going to give you something, but I'm going to get you to the place where I give it to you, but then I might want it back because I want to see what's bigger to you. What's more important to you?
Wow.
Was it the son? Was it the thing? Or is it me? So I might ask you to give me that thing back. What do you got to do? You still got to lock in on the very first promise.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
See, because that's what's going to keep you progressing, right? See, if I get jacked up over the fact that he asked for it back, or it looked like it's being taken back, what's going to happen? I'm going to have an opportunity to look back.
Right.
And I can't go forward looking backwards.
Right. That's right.
Right?
Right.
You see how this works? So God said, I just want to see if you can stay focused on me.
Okay.
Can you just stay focused on what I said?
All right.
Because I'm going to do something. I'm going to allow some stuff to happen to look like there's an obstacle or distraction, and what you thought you was getting, you really ain't getting. But I want to know, can you lock in on what I told you?
Okay. Okay.
Ain't that what he was saying? Is that what you were saying when you was up here? I believe. Yeah, I believe. Come on, say it again.
You said it, I believe it.
Come on, you said it, I believe it. See, that's where we get messed up. Because we say that God said it, then when the stuff don't look like it, then we start to doubt whether he said it.
Right.
And when we start doubting what he said, guess what we do? We turn around. But Abraham kept progressing. He kept moving forward. Right? Listen, He kept, I know you heard the story over and over, but he kept moving forward. Even to the point when it was time to give his son up, he said, wait till we come back.
Yeah.
See, your language changed when you believe what he said. You don't see the thing as an obstacle. You just see God got to do something. Right? Is that what the text said? When we kept reading through it, it said, he said that, well, I guess you're going to have to raise him from the dead. Because he said it. And I believed it.